Hello YouTube. Today I wanted to review the iPad since it's been over just about 8 months since its release, and to see if it's really worth it or not. So the first thing I wanted to go over is the one that's most common with the iPad mini is its size. Is it really worth it when there's large phones? And the answer is yes, because when you look at most phone sizes, even though it may be 6.3 inches or 6.7 inches, and this mini being 8.3 inches, is it really that much bigger? Yes, and this is because of the aspect ratio. The aspect ratio is where you measure the length and the width, and even though the phone may be 6.5 to 6.7 inches, the actual screen estate is not going to be as big due to the iPad being much wider. So even though the numbers may come up as closer, there's actually quite a significant difference here. And this is also with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is a huge phone. The iPad mini is still much bigger than it, despite the numbers. And then comparing this to iPads, each one does have its own special features. You hold an iPad, whether it's even 11-inch, after maybe a couple of hours, it starts to get pretty painful. For me, that's about 45 minutes. I can't really hold it too much for long periods, but this iPad mini, on the other hand, I can hold it for hours without any kind of hand fatigue. So this makes a big difference here. And also for typing, I believe even on the 11-inch iPad, it's very hard for me to type, whereas on the iPad mini, it's very easy to. So the size does make a big difference here. The display on this, it's got 500 nits of brightness, and that's been more than enough for what I need it for. I know the Pro models go way more than that, but this 500 nits has been quite sufficient even for daylight use. I really like that it's USB-C now. That's a big deal for me, as all my products at this point are USB-C. Using this in the Apple ecosystem has been quite nice as well. The cross-compatibility, being able to use Sidecar and other features where you can use this as a second monitor for the Mac and even have your Mac devices connected on the iPad seamlessly. All these things do add up and make it quite an amazing experience, along with the AirPods as well. Usually even the best Bluetooth devices can only connect to 2 devices at the same time, and when it does that, it is frustrating to switch off, whereas with the Apple ecosystem, I can have 3 devices, which is the iPad being the third one, and it can seamlessly transfer. So it does make a big difference having all these little things as they add up quite a bit in the overall user experience. Since I do review a lot of music products here as well, for musicians, how is this? I know for digital content creation and other things, of course iPad's amazing, but how about for musicians? And the answer is yes, it's great for that as well. Having the ability to use the iPad as a MIDI controller and being able to use it as a remote control for Logic and GarageBand does make it quite amazing. As you can see, I do have a synthesizer app and other things as well that help me with my music production. The cons are going to be the display. The display itself is amazing. The only reason I'm listing this as a con is the iPad Pros and also the iPhone Pros use 120 Hertz motion displays, and they are buttery smooth. Since if you have a 120 Hertz device and then you switch with the iPad mini, you'll notice the difference. If you mainly use 60 Hertz displays for all of your devices, it may not be a big deal. For me, it's not something that I really care about, but it is a nice feature to have for sure. Also the storage, the one that I have right now is a 64 gigabyte version. Of course, you can go ahead and get more storage, but the fact that they started with 64 and not 128 in 2022, I mean, it is what it is. People don't use their iPads in the way they use their Macs and iPhones, so you may not really need all that storage. So what could I see in a future iPad mini? Well, all I could see is probably minor improvements, such as maybe if they wanted to make a Pro version and bump up the refresh rate. So I use my AirPods for mobile audio anyway, so the quad speakers, the extra weight or space for using those speakers may not be worth it for many. Can only see minor improvements being added on here, as it's been pretty much perfected at this point. I can't really see much more that they can add, as it's been a great experience altogether. Would I recommend buying this iPad mini in 2022 or waiting out for a future model? And I would say yes, go ahead and buy it. It's a wonderful device, and even the original iPad minis, they still, even after as long as they've been out, still work. I hope this helped, and if you have any questions about the iPad mini or its use case with other products, feel free to ask or comment below.